Member for Murchison.
Mr President, excuse me, over the last few weeks it's been a privilege to watch the emergence of a remarkable piece of new community infrastructure last few years, did I say? Over the last few years it's been a privilege to watch the emergence of a remarkable piece of new community infrastructure in my community on the North West Coast. The watershed on the banks of the Inglis River has thrived, delivering a range of much sought-after programs. It's been a privilege to attend many events and engage with many of my constituents at sold-out evenings, all run by young people employed in training programs delivered by a well-known community organisation, hART. I'd like to commend Minister Jensch for his foresight in funding this and other hART projects such as Project O over recent years. With this in mind, and the many valuable outcomes delivered by hART, many of them I've spoken about in this place, it is mystifying and disappointing to hear the state Liberal government have decided to cut hART's funding for its successful watershed programs promised by Minister Jensch. This commitment provided in writing that stated it would cover 3 years after lengthy discussions and verbal communications to that effect, is sadly going on to note that only the communication that I was provided with goes on to note that only the first year of funding has been approved, and there's now been the 3-year funding has been reneged on, and only 1 year will be provided. Sadly, over 2,600 residents and participants from Wynyard and towns along the coast will now be both disappointed and bewildered at the loss of this highly sought after and sold out programs that provide at this facility. What makes it worse, Mr President, is that hART's watershed programs are inclusive and reach out to the whole community. They're aimed at breaking negative cycles amongst young people experiencing disadvantage, as well as people living with a disability. It appears funds for this highly sought after organisation were not cut because of negative evaluations. Clearly that couldn't be possible. Rather, because of government and departmental inefficiencies which dragged on for months and in the end gave this exemplary organisation just 3 weeks' notice that the contract was to end, leaving employees in a vulnerable position. At this point, all this when dealing with a homegrown organisation, which delivers in many of the key areas of disadvantage, this government should be targeting. It's a pity to see Minister Jensch's wise investment in his electorate get cut off at the height of part of the height of its success. I'm sure it's got a lot further to go, or would have. Mr President, this is a massive loss to our community. In case some members are unaware of the scale and longevity of hART's work on the North West Coast, I'll just provide a little bit of background, and it could be useful to help understand the size of what is actually being lost here. Over the last 3 years, hART has delivered award-winning programs in my electorate for young people with high levels of need. Currently, 260 young people engage with watershed programs. 260 young people. These innovative and award-winning projects have provided employment, education, digital literacy, primary prevention and new opportunities for young people. All the things our regional communities need and the government says they want to provide, and have a proven positive impact on community wellbeing and inclusion. But it is not only the local product that the organisation I'm so proud of. hART is internationally, yes, internationally renowned as the best in the community and cultural development field. Their project and approaches are sought after and have been exported across Australia and the Pacific. This is a Wynyard-based organisation, started actually in Burnie. Since its establishment in Burnie in 1992, the organisation has grown to become one of the largest arts organisations in the state and the biggest in its field nationally. It provides vital employment for Tasmanian artists and art workers, shaping many young careers. Their work features in many studies and research, and their many projects shine a positive light on Tasmania, with events bringing many visitors to the state, many of which I've attended and witnessed. Fortunately, there is still time for the government to respond to this departmental inefficiency and rectify this situation before this important organisation and its programs are damaged. I call on Minister Jensch to follow up on his good initial work, re-examine the issue and follow through on his written letter of funding, the offer for funding. Mr President, I'll read a copy of the letter received late last week by hART from the Minister for the Arts. just for context, it does provide no comfort for the staff employed. It said, this is to Ms Ange Pryor, who is one of the main leads in hART. Thank you for your email to the Department of Premier and Cabinet dated 13 July 2023 regarding the hART 2023-24 community consultation budget submission. They believed they were getting 3 years funding. The letter indicated that. They were then told they had to go back into the process, which they did in July, thinking that they shouldn't need to. She goes on to say, the Attorney-General, I would like to, and Minister for Arts, I would like to thank hART for its work in the Tasmanian community and for providing a submission as part of the community consultation for the 2023-24 budget. I note that the submission was received and considered as part of the 2023-24 budget development process. The government was required to make extremely difficult decisions during this process due to the ongoing challenging fiscal environment and was not able to fund your request for years 2 and 3 of the watershed this year. A significant expenditure has gone into the development of this project, and here we are on the 8th of September this year being told you won't have the money after all. With additional funding was not included in the May 2023 budget, I encourage you to participate in the 24-25 community budget consultation process, which will allow you to provide evidence of the achievements of the program to date, which will be hard if they can't deliver them, won't it? Because there's no funding. I would also encourage you to explore other funding opportunities, such as the Tasmanian Community Fund and their upcoming Education, Employment and Learning program. Thank you and hART again for important work you undertake for the community. That was good it was recognised. So, Mr President, I fully appreciate that the government doesn't have a bottomless bucket of money, but seriously, we're talking about $250,000 to support the youth, those with a disability and the broader community of the North West, particularly Wynyard and surrounds. To defund a successful organisation 2.5 months into the financial year after it was committed for a full 3 years, an organisation that's proven to be effective in promoting and providing employment, education, digital literacy, primary prevention and new opportunities for young people, where the programs have turned the lives of many young people around, seems completely counterproductive and wrong to me. We should be funding programs that make a real difference to the lives of young people, including those exposed to family violence, which is one of their main projects through Project O. Those at risk of falling behind in their education attainment and provide employment opportunities, including those who need support with digital literacy and access. Mr President, these things really matter to our community, especially to the youth of this community, and I call on the government to fulfil that commitment and to fund the work of hART as agreed soon, before those working at the watershed and other roles within hART will no longer be able to be kept on.
There's 5 million for orphans, no?
The question is that the council do now adjourn. Those of that opinion say aye.